Hey, what's up, everybody? Rob Marzullo here, Ram Studio Comics. Welcome back. So, in today's live stream, if we don't get any other requests, I'm going to be working on this study of a Velociraptor. So, I was fortunate enough to be able to get a picture of a Velociraptor last time I was at the Jurassic exhibit. Now, of course, I pulled this from online, but I figured it would make for a good study, so I kind of got into it a little bit already. These are always good for portfolio pieces as well. People always want to know if you can do animals, and this is sort of an animal, I guess, an extinct one, but it's good for just good for portfolio pieces. Like this can actually work for storyboards or for comics or whatever, fantasy art, whatever. It's actually really good for fantasy art because you convert this little guy to a little baby dragon or something. That'd be fun. All right, so at any rate, had some technical difficulties there for a minute. Hopefully that's out of the way. I'm going to work on this unless you guys give me some other reasons not to. And then, you're welcome to ask questions throughout the process, and I'll kind of explain things just as they come to mind. So I thank everybody for stopping by, and let's go ahead and get started, and let the live stream live. See what happens. And let me know if you guys hear a long gap of silence or visual. Make sure to comment really quickly because I don't know. This has been clunky lately, and I tried changing to a new server. I was recommended to do that by one of the Twitch peeps, and so I switched it over to a server that was closer to where my location is. So hopefully that'll help. We shall see. Let's do one more audio check because I'm not seeing any comments. Are you guys hearing this? Anything? Anybody? Yep, and a yes. Okay, good enough. Yes, all good. 100% here. Alrighty then. Let's move forward. Okay, so, and you guys can chime in and let me know if you don't want to see this particular piece, but like I said, I thought it was something that might be beneficial, but, you guys can let me know what you really want to see or whatever. I'm always up for requests on this whole deal. So, grab a soft brush here, set to multiply, and I'm going to add some larger shadows in. And as I've probably mentioned before, but the thing I like using multiply for is it will add shadow effects into the painting, but also keep the highlights. It won't wash out some of the other details. So multiply can be nice when trying to apply shadows. Oh, we got a host. I'm still not exactly sure what that means, but thanks for hosting me, whatever that means. Appreciate it. Sounds good anyways. Any questions I can answer today? Could you show us how you started real quick? Yeah, so how I started this particular painting. What I always do to get started with something like this, besides defining the overall canvas size, is I start with a loose interpretation of the background. In this case, it was already a blurred set of leaves. So to do that, well, you can see right there, I blotched it in just really, really ugly. Just dabs and blotches of some different tone and color. And then I threw a Gaussian blur on it, and then I resized it. So if you notice, that's the same thing, but I scaled it up. So I got that. Then I come in with a flat layer, basically. Oh, and Fosarian, I don't know how to say that, I'm sorry, but somebody's letting me know that means another streamer is showing your stream on their channel. Yeah, I greatly appreciate that. So thank you very much for sharing. It's linked to your channel so other people can join. Yeah, that's sweet. Thank you so much. Um, so yeah, so essentially, I start with a flat layer like this, and depending on how complex it is, sometimes I'll draw the selection, but more times than not, I'll just take, since I'm working off a dark background here, I'll take a lighter color. Sometimes I'll use the same color. It really doesn't matter. I'll use this more as a selection. So I'll just take white, and I'll set the pen. I'll use real pencil or my good line brush here. Go to normal, and then I'll just take and say, just draw in a rough idea of the shape of the raptor. So we'll say something like this. You get the brow over here, the nose down here, the face. It comes back, and I'll usually sketch more at first. So let me show you how I'd really do it, and because this will usually help me find the forms a little bit easier. So I'll start off kind of sketchy and get the shape, and then I'll just either select it or draw it with a refined line. That's a pretty bad silhouette, but you can modify it as you go. So say once I get the silhouette, I'll just delete this one. But once I get it to there, it doesn't mean it has to stay there. So then I lock transparency and I start filling it like this and doing shading and stuff. But even this isn't refined yet. This isn't the real shapes that I'm, studying from the movie art or whatever. In fact, mine actually looks a little bit more like a baby velociraptor because the proportions are off. But there's so many ways to edit the work from this point that you just basically I'll show you real quick. Say, for instance, I see the neck is a bit off, or the relationship from the jaw to the head to this part. Let me see. I'm trying to find the flaw here real quick. We'll just say the neck. I want to refine the neck a bit, right? So I can add a layer. I'll grab a bright variation color, let's try a red, like this. And say, for instance, I want the neck to come down like they got kind of this little turkey neck thing going on right there. So say I want it to go like this and down to there, right? And that's more the shape I'm looking for. I can use that as a reference point. I can select this layer, make sure transparency is off, or lock transparency is off, and go to filter, liquify. Let's zoom up here just a little bit. Oh, not that much. Why does it do that? I don't know. Okay, hold space. Well, I can't move it anymore. And so now what I can do is I can modify with the color. I can push all that information right to where I want it. And it still keeps, some of that shadowing that I put in. Gets tough to see right here, but all you got to do is kind of go past it and come back a little bit. And again, it doesn't have to be perfect. You could even just go past it and then use your selection tool to crop it and get a nice clean line. I'm not that worried about it, so I can just kind of go to the edge. And really, if you size the brush down, you could get it just perfect if you wanted. Hit OK. And then just like that, now I can take away my registration mark. I'm able to move that information closer to where I want it. So I'll do things like that systematically as I'm progressing through the paintwork. And let's see. Oh, Jordan Reeves says Rob and a bunch of heads, a bunch of faces, screams or whatever those are. Thanks, Jordan. Good to have you back. So yeah, so that's one of the ways that I modify it. Another, like for instance, this eye looks like it's too flat, or I'm sorry, it looks like it's tilted towards camera too much. And as we know, reptiles have eyes that are more on the side of their heads. So I gotta adjust this. So for instance, I'll just take this, select that, isolate that area, liquify. I'll size the brush up a little bit. And then I'll just kind of play around with the shapes that are already right there. And I just really swear by this liquify effect because all the color data, everything's still there. I can just easily manipulate shapes, study my reference, and just move things around. So I can get that effect that, if I want the pupil to look more like it's on the side but he's looking up at us, I'm just going to move this line closer to the pupil and really kind of push that effect that the eye is tilted more. Hit OK. Go back and forth and kind of check the work. So small incremental changes like that kind of do a lot for changing perspective and, manipulating the work. And then past that, I just, select from the area I got, go back to my chalk brush, and I'll keep painting in these scales. And lock transparency so I don't go outside of the edges I'm painting over here. Yeah, and let me ask you guys too. Okay, so Jordan says if only Liquify worked like this with line drawings, but sadly it does not. It can. It just can't work that way with, like, say, cross-hatching. So Liquify will work that way if you start early enough into your sketch. I could show you an example of that if you want, but basically it can help you kind of find poses. Photoshop and digital art in general can help you to find your poses. So you can start with a pretty basic pose, and using Liquify and other, selection methods and transform and warp and all that fun stuff, you can kind of add more dynamics to your poses. I was actually messing around with that the other day. So, but yeah, if you're talking about a fully cross-hatched character, like you put all that nice cross-hatching and line work already in there, yeah, it's not going to work as far as that goes. Yeah, you're welcome. I wish I could say your name. I'm not FSN. Can I just call you Narian? I don't know how to pronounce that. I'm not the best linguist either. My verbal skills are not what they should be. Or my literary skills? I don't know. So yeah, and I just keep building up on this. So you can see I'll just add little shadows. I bounce around a lot. And just find little areas to detail. And then I keep studying the piece. Yeah, and Jordan says, yeah, I do mean a finished character. Yeah, you just, unfortunately, there's no way to really do that as of yet. I mean, I guess in 3D you can, because you can have a fully rendered character and then just move them around and pose them. But as far as comic drawing, yeah, you're not going to get that. And I had another question for you guys. So essentially, so you know that pretty much my my two topics on here are comics and digital painting, obviously, like we're doing here. What is it that, we've only got a few people here today so far, but what is it that you guys typically come to the channels for? I don't know if you're also YouTube followers or not, but what is your favorite topic that I cover, and, give me a little bit more to go off of there, if you don't mind. And I will just keep scribbling away until you guys tell me. Oh, that's fine. So Rob or Felix? Oh, so this is Felix. Okay. Yeah, I'll just call you Felix then. Appreciate that. I came from YouTube, and it was because of comics. Okay. So there's one, and I want to get a few more if I can. But I'm just kind of wondering, because I want to make sure that if you guys really just want to see comic stuff, that I'm not, pushing my digital paint work on you or something, and you guys are like, oh god, not another digital painting. I like both. I'm obviously I gravitate more to comics. Digital painting is just more like how I kind of make more my living, I guess, in a sense, because it's more of my professional work is kind of painted stuff. But I'm open to either one. So let's see. I'm sub to you from YouTube as well. I just like watching better artists in general. People like you always seem to drop off little tips and tricks that really help out. Yeah, I appreciate that, Jordan. And I'm the same way. I watch people that are a heck of a lot better than me, and that's how I grow as well. Just like, like when you play sports, you got to play people that are better than you to learn. So it makes sense. Let's see. Russ says, I'm from YouTube. Picked up picked up looking for drawing faces. Oh, cool. I come to streams to watch YouTube videos to learn how to draw comics. So far, everybody's pretty comic oriented. Uh, and yeah, Comic Art Depot says, I'm here because you just crushed it with that Spider-Man you posted on your blog. Yeah, thanks so much, Comic Art Depot. Um, and let me know if you want me to call you Comic Art Depot or reference your name or anything like that. And I really appreciate you saying that about that Spider-Man piece. That's I'm pretty excited about that one as well. Um, I just love it when a piece comes out decent in the end. Sometimes you don't know at the beginning of it, and so then it's nice when you get that validation and other people say, "Hey, great job on that one." So that's I'm pretty excited about that as well. So thank you. And YouTube follower, and I like how you do landscapes as well as comics, fantasy characters also. All right, so Felix kind of likes all of it, and but I just want to make sure. So essentially, the reason why I do show it all is because I think that comics are all near and dear to all of our hearts, obviously, and then the digital paint stuff I feel like is just a little bit more marketable, unfortunately, in some ways. I say unfortunately because I love comics so much, but sometimes it gets really daunting and kind of tough to figure out how to market yourself as a comic artist and how to make that work, how to make that gel right. Where digital painting seems to be a bit easier to kind of do that with everything that's out there and stuff like that. So that's one of the reasons why I show it. Like even with with what I do with storyboards, it's all painted. You do some line work in the beginning, but they're really trying to get to those full color illustrations at the end, and that's what they make their money with. Okay, Andrew works. So it's Andrew from Comic Art Depot, everybody. And I do want to just give him a shout out because he's got an amazing site. He helps to, showcase my work and also gives a lot of great advice on not only how to improve your artwork and things like that, but also how to, know more about, marketing yourself in a sense and, getting your web data out there. So he knows a bit about all that. So just check out comicartdepot.com. So yeah, so just want to give credit where credit is due right there. So yeah, so you guys are welcome too to say, hey, let's work on some comic stuff. I'm okay with that. I always keep Sketchbook Pro open as I'm doing these so we can jump over and start drawing some stuff. Or I can keep working on this. So you guys just kind of do a little, yeah, no problem, Andrew, anytime. You guys do a little, give me your comments and let me know what you'd rather do. And if you got a particular thing, that's always fine too. I mean, you guys can barter back, or not barter, but bicker back and forth and tell me what you think's more important to cover if you throw out some ideas. So I kind of let these live streams go where they will, and try to let you guys pick so that so you actually want to come watch these things, not just watch me draw. Unless that's what you want to do. Yeah, and I can show you some more techniques on how to refine this as I get a little bit more of this down. So if you want to know how this kind of works out, we can do that too. It doesn't matter. So Comic Art Depot says, or Andrew says, is this piece something you're working on now for a particular project? No, Andrew, this is actually just a portfolio shot. Like I said, I try to do things that I can use in multiple venues or areas in my work. So this is something that I can use for storyboards. It's also something I can use for just a general portfolio, even for science fiction type stuff, because it's kind of the same realm of dragons or whatever. So essentially I'm doing this just to kind of better my ability, and really I do this too because I've been wanting to do some cool dragons, and they're not my strong suit, unfortunately, which sucks because I really like them. I got pictures of them in my studio and stuff like that, and I'm always looking at dragon art. And Chris Scalf, a buddy of mine that I do some illustration work with from time and time again, is an amazing dragon artist. He's actually one that got me into YouTube and years ago, and YouTubing. That sounds funny, doesn't it? But he does these amazing dragons, and I'm like jealous because I struggle with dragons, and I don't know what my problem is. It's just weird how we all gravitate towards different things in our artwork. So part of this is just me trying to get a little bit better and not be so bad at dragons, even though it's a Velociraptor. Let's see. So, oh yeah, you had this question before, didn't you, Jordan? So Jordan's asking, what are your reasons for liking Procreate over Sketchbook Pro? Okay, so here's the deal with that. Sketchbook Pro on the desktop version, in my opinion, is almost bar none as far as the drawing experience. That I'm okay with. That's my favorite drawing program, on the desktop. When it comes to the iPad Pro, Procreate smokes it, bar none. It's because it's, and I could be wrong, or maybe I don't understand it enough yet, but the Sketchbook app is really not there yet. It needs a few more of the options. It feels a bit clunky when I'm drawing on the iPad Pro, and then I jump into Procreate and everything's right there. I can go right from drawing to painting, no problem. So that's just my reasoning. I'm not saying it's horrible. It's just not as good as Sketchbook's desktop version is amazing. So I just wish they would. I almost wish they'd at least make another one just for the iPad, because the iPad's got plenty of processing power. So if it was a case where they're like, well, we want one that'll work on the phones and on the iPad and on the iPad Pro, then it bothers me, because the iPad Pro is like, a fully capable drawing painting device, and you got this like really light version of the Sketchbook app. So that's my view. Maybe I'm not, seeing it for all it is, but that's all I can say right now. How about doing some group character stuff like a team of heroes? That's Felix. Or a team of dragons. Nice. Well, like I said, I'm still working on getting better at dragons, so I better focus on just one. I could possibly add to this and see how we could take a Velociraptor and make it look like a dragon. Would be kind of fun. But as far as a team of superheroes, man, that's going to take a while. Like those are always the ones I shy away from. If you look at a lot of my shots, I'll do 1, 2, maybe 3 heroes in a shot, but I don't do the whole group big collage settings. Again, I think there's certain artists that do certain things really well, and others that don't do particular things really well, and that would be another one of my Achilles heels. I'm actually wanting to do a nice group shot, like do all the Marvel characters or some of my favorite DCs all fighting it out, but I'll typically stay like 3 and under for most shots, and I really need to get past that, because you're not always going to have the option to say, oh, I only want to put a couple characters on a page. That's not going to help you tell a whole story or a whole book, definitely. Last dragon I saw you do was pretty sweet, and Chris Scalf's Boss at Dragons, Monsters, Werewolves versus Dinosaurs. Yeah, so Chris Scalf, I better do a shout out to that too. He's got a book out right now. I believe it's out and available everywhere. Look for it. It's Chris Scalf's Werewolves versus Dinosaurs. Really neat kind of, topic, and got a great story to it. I can't say a whole lot about it. You got to check the book out, but really neat and great artwork, obviously. So yeah, that's a pretty cool one that's out there right now. Jordan says, "Oh, I only work on the desktop, so that's the reason it doesn't apply to me." Yeah, so essentially that software on the desktop is great. Group shots, ton of characters sound fun until you're halfway through and get bored. Yeah, it's just I don't know what it is. I think it's more my compositional skills maybe that I need to work on, where maybe it's boredom. I mean, I do enjoy close-ups a lot more than I enjoy distance shots. I think mainly because I can focus on the clarity or something, but it might just be my compositional skills. So but knowing that about myself is something that I got to say, okay, time to rectify that. Time to jump on in and work on a group shot, because they are some of the coolest picks. Like I can't think of which one it is and by what artist, but there's one where there's just a ton of Marvel guys fighting it out, and they're always impressive because you could just sit there and kind of scan through it. I remember seeing even a really good one by Finch, and you know, you just scan through it and see all those characters and the way that they detail them for a full shot like that is just so impressive. And I think it takes a certain way to do it where you can read all that information and not just get lost. Yeah, good point, Comic Art Depot. Study some of Jim Lee's covers for Suicide Squad right now. Lots of group shots. Yeah, and he's always been like a master at that for sure. What's Russ saying? Marvel, be cool watching here and drawing Thor. Are you saying Thor would be a cool character to draw? I'm sorry, I'm kind of misinterpreting that. Have you tried? No, and that's in Nimbus Morai, Morjai. I don't know how to say that. Have you tried Lazy Nazumi for Photoshop? No, and you're like the second or third person, or maybe you're the same person that keeps asking me. I've never tried that. I don't know what that is, but yeah, I've been asked that a few times now. All right, I got some darkness on the face here. What exactly is that, by the way? Refresh my memory if you don't mind. It's a it's the first time for you to say it. It's a plugin. What kind of plugin though? What exactly does it do? Yeah, and let me know if you guys would like to see me try it too. I could try to take this and make it into a bit of a dragon. So show you how I would study from that, or I can just keep painting on this. Or if you guys absolutely want, I could switch over to Sketchbook and we can draw some superhero stuff if that's you know, I feel bad, like I said, if that's mainly what people are coming here for, and I'm like, no, I feel like drawing a Velociraptor today. So that's what I'm going to draw. Oh, you're drawing Thor. Sorry. Okay. You're drawing Thor while watching. Got it. For inking example. Basically affects your brush strokes and gives you clean lines like Manga Studio. Also, it has some great perspective tools. Oh, no kidding. Yes. So yeah, I was kind of wondering too, like, you know, I mentioned that in a post earlier, like when Photoshop was going to get more perspective tools going. I just kind of think that's strange that they haven't done more with that, considering almost everybody's adopted them now. I mean, shoot, Procreate's just an app for the iPad, and that's got amazing perspective tools. So that Lazy Nuzumi, or however you say it, that's actually that actually does it. Oh, there you go. Did somebody just share me a link? Yeah, I guess I could share that of Chris's work. There you go. Nice. Yes, everybody. This is Chris Scalf's link, or one of them. Let me see if that comes through. Check that out. Make sure it goes through properly. But yeah, and thanks for sharing, Felix. Appreciate that. But yeah, he does some amazing stuff, and he's actually been really helpful to my art progression over the years. So definitely give his stuff some likes. Punch up a little light source up here. Okay, Felix likes the idea of making it a dragon. That links to your video, Rob. Oh, great. Sorry about that. A little self-promotion. Man, I thought, Felix, didn't you just send me a link to Chris's stuff? I thought that's what you sent me, and I was sharing. Sorry about that, folks. Hey, while you're here, check out more of my stuff. That seemed really nice. Okay, so how would I change this to a dragon? How would I do that? Well, here, I'll do this. I'll type his name in just so you guys got it. And you can look him up. He's got a multitude of sites, so you'll be able to find him. But there's the artist I was talking about right there that does great dragons, as I'm probably going to slaughter this one. Okay, so this is how I would try to maybe convert this to a dragon. Let's take a different color. I guess it really doesn't matter. Let's just try we'll use a red. A lot of dragons are red, so. And what I would do is try to change like the silhouette. I'd probably immediately start with some crazy kind of spikes here. And you know, some dragons will have ears. So we'll do like some crazy looking ears off the side here. Probably change the jawline a little bit, snout a little bit, bring it out further. And some smaller spikes up in here. And I would definitely stretch out the neck further, but I'll just go ahead and leave it for now. And then maybe, you know, some additional spikes going down the back. Obviously we got to have some wings in there somewhere. I don't know where, like maybe something like this. The other wing would be up over here somewhere, I think. I don't mind the neck, so I'd probably keep that the same. Yeah, just throw Daenerys Targaryen in there and bam, instant dragon. A cyborg dragon? Yeah, I don't know about that. Maybe. Let's just let's see where this takes us first. So, you know, I'm just trying to get some ideas in here, and I probably wouldn't draw it out as much and then convert it to a dragon, but we'll see. So let's take let's get the backgrounds out of there. Let's drop in a white flood so I can see what I'm doing a little bit better. Hopefully, anyways. And let's see if I can... how would I do it? I'd probably drop a layer behind the current Raptor. Select the next corresponding color like this. And start blocking in some large bits of color here to kind of check the silhouette first before I start painting away. Oh, and remember to set it back to normal, because if not, every time you overlay, you'll just get a darker and darker version until you reach black with multiply there. So I'll do this to kind of check the silhouette. So yeah, probably throw the ear in there. And I probably work on one segment at a time, just so I don't get distracted or confused as to what I'm doing, and I can kind of see where it's going. So I always start with the face on almost anything, just because it allows me to see if it's going in the right direction. I always feel like if I don't get the face right, there's really no point in drawing the rest of it or painting the rest of it. Yeah, I don't like cyborg dragons. I must be racist. Yeah, I'm pretty. I don't like any kind of cyborgs. They're really offensive to me. I mean, I could convert it to a mechanical dragon, but it's essentially going to be like... I'd still have to get kind of this part out of the way first anyways, so... I just don't want to waste all the time I put into the scales and everything and immediately convert them to a little cyborg dragon, but... Man, that's a lot of scales, man. Come on. Okay, so we'll start here. Let's see if... Oh, look, he's already looking kind of dragonish. I gotta get that other ear in there, so I gotta kind of picture how much of this ear you might see on this side. And I'll make a copy of this. That way I still got my Raptor for later, because I want to finish that piece. And then I could probably start messing with the liquefy, see if I can bend some of the snout. Let me see. Filter, liquefy. Oh, and you got to remember to take transparency off. It has some adverse effect. Okay, let's zoom in here a bit. And let's try to push the gel around. It's gonna look kind of funny at first, but just gotta kind of play with it. So this part I feel is like kind of like reminds me of ZBrush, more like sculpting. And chances are I'll have to repaint the details, but I just want to get more of it into place. And I'd probably do more with like these bumps or something, really, you know, make it look more fantasy oriented. So really bring these out. Call them lumpy dragon. And all this is going to get stretched out anyway. So even though, you know, you can see some real distortion in there, but I can just paint over that. I'll probably have to paint over a lot of this. Give them like a bigger nostril. Let's see. Punch Twit says, did you draw the dino as well? I didn't draw it. I painted it and just kind of blocked in a silhouette with a solid color, and then I started painting in the details. If that's what you mean. I don't know what you mean by that. But yeah, it is my painting or whatever. But I was looking at a picture of a Velociraptor from Jurassic Park. I'll tell you what got me doing is I just watched the Jurassic Parks again. And, you know, I'm always inspired by stuff like that. You know, it's like I'll watch a series of movies and like next thing you know, I'm wanting to do a character from the movie, you know. So we'll say if that's good enough. It's still a bit it's kind of scary too if you do this, like, but you know, it gets us in the ballpark a little bit closer, you know. And then what I have to do is I have to take the silhouette that's behind them right here, and I got to start painting over top of both of them and kind of blend them together. I mean, it's just one way of doing it. So I'll take the darker tone here, and I want to make sure that this ear looks like it's in front of the back part, but probably behind the cheekbone here. So I'll bring these lines in this way. I'll start shading this out. I don't know how I want the ear to look, but something like this. And then I just go back and forth and keep painting it until it starts to blend into the existing painting. Yeah, liquefy. Oh, and thanks, Felix. I appreciate you saying that about the scales. Yeah, liquefy is amazing. It's a must-have when it comes to you know, digital painting, and it's one of the reasons why I constantly still gravitate back towards Photoshop. You know, because they all have some great tools. I don't think any of them have liquefy though. They have transform tools, which are pretty good, but liquefy is to me the best one of the bunch for making these quick adjustments and you know, making this stuff work. So yeah, I'm a huge fan of liquefy, if you can't tell. So here I want this to look like it's behind the ridge of the brow right there, obviously. So I'll shade this back even further. Probably not add as much detail either. So that's another thing I've been noticing more in paintings, and I've been trying to kind of get into my own work, is that you want to omit detail in certain areas, because not just because it wouldn't be in focus, that's part of it, but the other part is just because you're trying to direct the viewer to where you want them to look in your painting, and you want certain parts to look cooler. So you can do that with detail, with lighting, with, you know, just about anything really. These spikes are pretty bad, so I need to fix these as well. And I don't know where I want this to come from, probably all behind the head here. And let's see. And then what I tend to do is, as I start progressing through this, I'll even merge down these layers. I'll show you that here in a second, but one of the reasons I do that is because I start getting more worried about where I'm at in my painting, and you know, if I'm on the right layer, I got to grab this, grab that. So I'll just, especially in the conceptual stage, I rather worry more about painting than where I'm at in the painting and what's on top of what. So what I'll do is I'll take, like, even at this stage, you know, I go, okay, if I take this off, I got that in front, I've got the dino in the middle, and I've got this silhouette in the back. I might as well just take all three of these, hit Command J, Command E, merge them together, and then take these layers off. And then just keep working on this one for a bit. And at this stage, I could probably even throw my background back in there. I don't think it'll matter. And it shows me a few more flaws as well. So now I can just start working on this, and then I'll add in the wings here in a bit. Yeah, good point, Punch Twitch. You're saying lack of detail in one area can add detail to another. So yeah, for sure. I mean, there's a lot of paintings where you see them, and it's not a very detailed painting, but it comes across detailed because they know where to add the detail and how much, and just the right amounts in the right areas. So some of the best paintings don't have a lot of detail. They just know where to put it, and they make really good use of their volumetric light as well, which is really important. To any scene is to just have atmosphere to it. That's one of the things I tried to do to my my last Spider-Man piece that I did, and I think that it worked out well because a few people already commented on it. But I just added a few blurs and a few brighter light sources that kind of bleached out certain areas because I was trying to add atmosphere. I was trying to make it look a little depthy and not just just a fully focused. I think a big problem is with doing that type of work is you get so much into the drawing process that you'll put everything in focus. And you got to be careful not to do that. It's got to look believable, and part of that is everything's not in focus. Everything's not as vivid all at once, anyways. Yeah, and the beauty too of doing it this way, where you kind of merge stuff down, you can get in there and start playing around with color too. I'm still trying to figure out more of the design of the creature, so that's why I keep adding in these little bits and kind of stopping and looking at it for a second, trying to figure out if this is a good shape. He's got kind of a horse face thing going on here, but I'll adjust that. So so another way to make adjustments, just so you know, is the warp effect. And I don't know if I can use it right here or not. It might still be better to use Liquify, but I'll try it. So you can grab a part of it. Go to Quick Mask, Filter, Blur, Gaussian Blur. Blur the edge of the Quick Mask. Hit OK. Hit Q again. Command C, Command Shift V will paste it back into place. And then go Edit, Transform, Warp. And so you can move things around a little bit, and because you softened up the edge before you got started, it'll generally blend pretty well to the existing surrounding area or whatever. So this one can be neat for little changes as well without having to repaint stuff. But I think I'm gonna have to change the snout, so I'm just trying to play around with this, and that's a little better. It's still just kind of weird looking, so let me merge that down just because it is a tiny bit better. And let me put a little specular highlight up here. And I'll grab from that specular highlight. Maybe I'll do a little bit of scales on the top of the nose here. I guess I could do some protruding teeth. Or I think what looks cool a lot of times, kind of like how Gators got, is they have this bumpy series of, this change in shape right there. It's not all just straight across right there. It's more jagged. So maybe we could try that. Let's see. Bretsky says, when you lasso something, you can just press Control J to duplicate that selection to a new layer. Oh, got it. Okay. And that'll leave it in place then, you're saying? Let me try that. All right, teach me something here. So I'll do the I, Command J. Oh my goodness, it's magic. Let's just keep this eye. It just kind of looks kind of creepy. Yeah, cool. I didn't know that. So you just lasso something, hit Command J. Will that work with the quick mask? Let's try that. Quick mask for Q, filter, Gaussian blur, Q, Command J. And it works. Good deal, man. Appreciate that. Yeah, so that's that soft blur that you get by doing the quick mask. Good one, Bretsky. Thanks for sharing. That's why this stuff is so powerful. You know, it's like you just get so much information when you work with a community of people like this. It's just good stuff, you know? Just makes you feel good. I know I feel good. Except for this freaking funky jawline I'm putting in here. It's, other than that, I feel pretty darn decent. Trying to put the scales in there, but I don't know that. Maybe I need those lower, and this would all just be shaded. I don't know what I'm doing. Oh no. What have I done? What have I continued to do? Anybody know what movie that's from? Anybody? Okay. Yeah, there are a lot of Photoshop tricks. Yeah, they come in handy, I'll tell you. When you really start pumping out some work, man, they can be huge time savers. Alright, the other thing I probably need to do, let me set back to multiply. I need to get this front looking better. I'll paint some of this back. Yeah, so the other part I wanted to mention is, like, once you do get enough of this paint work in place, obviously I still got to add the wings. I still got a lot of adjustments to make. The cool thing is you can really color and change things really fast. So you can go, you know, select, load selection, like this. You can add a new layer over top and set it to a blending mode. So say we wanted more of a red dragon, reddish burgundy like this. Let's see, let's put this on multiply. Let's set it to color mode. And that did nothing. Let's set this to color mode. And just like that, we got, you know, more of a red dragon. And I think that's a little too much. So let's go ahead and set it to overlay. It's kind of cool, but a bit too saturated. So that's kind of what overlay does anyways. It always overlay saturates. So I usually mix overlay and color mode together just to kind of get the right effect. So let's try overlay, but then let's do it just a little more opacity than that. But like I said, I'll leave the selection. All right, so I got a quiz for you, Brett. Let's see if you know this one. How do you make the selection disappear? So we've already got it selected, but visually we don't want it to be in front of us. You remember that one? Check the big brain on Brett here, folks. Give him time to respond since there's a apparent lag in the live stream. Control H. Oh, they both got it. So Andrew and Brett got it at the same time. And that is it, folks. You can hit Control H. And let's see if they were right. We'll add a new layer. And they're right. See, I didn't go outside of there. Good job, guys. Good job. Thought I was the only one that was really good at Photoshop. Apparently not. Alright, so let's try a little bit of green over the red. I don't know. Maybe. Yeah, we'll try it. So we'll take a soft brush and just lightly brush in. Maybe blue would be better, but I just want to try to offset the plane change of the dragon here. Maybe a little bit right here. And mess with the blending mode on that as well. Screen maybe? Nope. Color dodge. And you tell I really have no clue when I'm doing this stuff. I just simply keep adding layers and drawing something. Oh, he's got glowing green eyes. That's cool. That's a cool dragon. Jordan says, we were born into Photoshop, you merely adopted it. Hey, watch it, Jordan. I've been doing Photoshop since you were a wee lad. I got 20 years in this program. I didn't do it. I did it as I worked at a graphic design sign shop for years, even before I started my own business. So I did it more from that terminology or side of things. And then now with digital painting, you end up using a lot more shortcut commands because it really, expedites your work. Just like how, if you get really good, you can start doing this where you hit tab and just use shortcut commands. I'll be honest, I can't do that. And I probably wouldn't make for a good live stream anyways. Alright, Brett says another handy trick with the lasso tool is if you hold Alt, it turns into the polygonal tool. Aha, nice. Good one. You guys like the green eyes on this or what? I think I like the green eye. It looks a little bit more mystical. So, and again, we got a few layers going here, so I'll hold Shift, Command J, Command E, and disappear these. And let's go ahead and check it against our Velociraptor. So we were able to convert it from, and I got to add some wings, obviously. It's not a dragon without wings. But we're able to convert it from this, from that, to this. Why does my Velociraptor look funny? Hold on. No, that is the last one. Man, see, it's so weird. All of a sudden, he looks totally different to me. But anyways, so you see that didn't take us much to get it there. And, you just keep going, obviously. This wouldn't be the end result. But, it's a good way to, like, get your fantasy paint going, your fantasy art. Do a lot of neat little tricks like that. Night All from UK, work stops play. Yeah, don't blame me there, Russ. Well, good to have you. Thanks very much for tuning in. We'll catch you on the next one, hopefully. All right, so let's get some wings on this thing. I'm trying to figure out. Again, I'm going to draw in a separate layer behind the dragon here, and let's try a different color. Let's grab a red, bright red. The Real Pencil tool. Set to normal. And I'm trying to figure out, I always have a tricky time guessing where I would put, why is it not drawing? Normal mode, blending mode, oh, the selection, Command H, Command D. There we go. Anyways, that was embarrassing. Okay, so the wing over here, I guess I'm trying to picture where we'd get a wing. It's always tricky on these angular shots like this with dragons. I think I would bring the wing over this way on this. I'm doing the wing in the background, just so you know. Maybe something like that. What do you guys think? Is that about right where the wing might go? And then I'll do another one up close, but it'll probably chop down this way or something. What do you guys think for the wing? All right, let's just go with it. And then if I drop this down, let's use the pen and path tool real quick. Okay, you guys like it then? Yeah. Like I said, it's always tough for me to picture where wing placement is on the dragons. Another reason why layers come in handy and digital art in general, because you can move it around and kind of, flip it and get perspective on it. But I always wonder. It's always not my strong suit for some reason. So I'll move this around a bit. That's good enough. I just want a shape really. So right click, make selection, or just fill it, I guess. that a new layer, or is that the red layer? Yeah, I always do this where I accidentally fill the layer I sketched on. Alright, fill path. That's going to make it red, isn't it? No, black. Oh, that's fine. Release it. And let's go and lock transparency and start painting away. Jordan says, I think this dragon needs to be a little more, I don't know what that word is. Kawaii? 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 You're going to have to help me out on that one. Alright, I've got transparency locked, wrong brush. It's chalk painter. And get some of this in there. Which I need more red in there, but we'll get there. Alright, I would picture there'd be a large shadow on most of this, like this. Gonna get some of the... It means cute in Japanese. Yeah, like I'm gonna know that. Goodness. I don't speak all the Japanese language. I barely know the menu. Yeah, I don't speak that, I'm sorry. I got, what's that saying? I got 2 languages, English and broken English. I speak a little bit of Italian. Lasagna, pizza, spaghetti. You know, all the main ones. Okay, so let's get... Trying to make this look like a wing. It's not really happening yet, but let's break out the dodge tool. Try to get some light source on it. Let me pan back too. I don't know. Let's get some, like, the veins in the wings. I always think that looks cool. People do that. And I probably should just be texturing the crap out of this, because that's one of the other things that always makes paintings like this look cooler. Is when you start adding lots of texture, even if it's like subtle buildup. Seems to do a lot for these paintings and make them look more realistic. Okay, so now let's see if we can do dual selection, because I still want to change the colors of these. Let me try grabbing the dragon here and playing around with hue saturation. Yeah, blue dragon? Yeah, see, I don't like this one because it's changing the color everything. Let's try the color balance. Yeah, what about you guys? What do you guys try for the colorization? You got a specific thing that you do there? Let's try darkening the shadows a bit more. Oh, there's one red dragon there. Let's see, Jordan saying, do you know who Jonah Loeb is, Rob? If not, it doesn't matter, but he's the guy that made the dragons for the Elder Scroll games and some Fallout creatures. He streams on Twitch. You could watch him. Yeah, I'll have to check him out. Let me see the name again. Jonah Loeb. Jonah Loeb. Okay. Yeah, for sure. And then After Max says, hey, Rob, is there any Dodge tool equivalent in Manga Studio or just the Light and Airbrush? So the the lighten tool, or you set it to you set the airbrush onto glow. I believe it's got a glow effect. That's going to be the closest one to that. I'm not looking at it right now, but I'm predominantly sure that's how it is. But yeah, it's definitely in there. So if nothing else, next time I'm streaming or actually, I guess I could open up Mango Studio if I have to, but next time I'm doing a video in Mango Studio, I can address it as well. All right, so here's the tricky part, because I probably should have merged these and then changed the color, but I'm trying not to do that if I don't have to. Back to shadows. I'll watch, I'm going to end up with a totally off color. It's going to suck. Well, I guess I can get it in the range and then I'll just keep painting. So let me do that. Alrighty. Selective color layer is handy for color adjustments. So, selective color layer. Okay, yeah, good luck on that, Aftermath. Selective color layer. So what is that actually? I'm not so you're saying color select, like select by color, like color range? This one or no? And I'm going to start watching Brett's live stream so I can learn some stuff about Photoshop here. Mango Studio stream would be great for the next time. I mean, it's not a big deal. If you guys want Mango Studio, I can jump in there for sure. I use them all, so I'm not really, you know, I'm not too particular. You know, it's totally up to you guys. If you want to see some Mango Studio stuff, we can do that. Or I can keep working on this and trying to figure it out. It doesn't... You guys are the boss. You know, I'm thinking about, like, I'll probably end up doing some live streams where I just work and essentially, block it out or whatever. I won't be answering the chat as much. But that's not this type of live stream. This type is more where, I kind of just share the process and we talk back and forth and, try to answer as many questions as possible. I don't think I got the roundness in this wing looking right. Let's see. Click on the white-black circle under the layers panel to find it. Oh, okay, got it. Yeah, so you're saying this right here. Yeah, I never use this. I always think of this more like a mask, but you're saying you can do some good color adjustments with this? And can't you, like, are you saying like you can right click on it or something? Besides that, this one here? Gradient, color balance. Okay, so it's working on everything outside of it right there. It's cool. Yeah, I tell you what, I better just kind of fumble through with what I'm doing because it'll take too long in response time for you guys to tell me what to do. But yeah, I appreciate that. I'll actually have to study that more. I see a lot of pros using that, and I don't. I kind of stay away from it. But it would make sense to kind of bite the bullet and just learn it for sure. Alright, so let me try to get some of these other colors into the wing here. Maybe I can blend these two together a little bit better that way. Yeah, and I think some of them, what might be beneficial as well as, you know, to do the occasional live stream where I just like throw on some music and then just draw or paint, because one of the things that happens as I'm like doing this and I'm looking back and forth to the screen, it's taking me out of the creation process and in turn makes it go a bit slower than, you know, because I normally paint not excessively fast, but pretty quick, but I get into it, you know, so I'm like, I don't have to multitask and think about other things going on. I just kind of jump around and paint and let it happen. So it might be cool to do some live streams that way, so I don't appear to be so slow at this. Let's see, let's jump down the saturation a little bit. And also the levels. Alright, let me try to fix the face of this dragon a little bit, because it's bugging me. So I'll go back to, let's try the hard round brush. Oh, great. It didn't just lock up, did it? Yeah, somebody respond, because I got it. It looks like it locked up on my screen, and I've had problems with that on this setup for some reason. Anybody? Yeah, I hope not. They actually told me to change the server, and I did. So I'm hoping that fixed the problem, but it's working for you guys? Okay. Yeah, for some reason my screen on the Twitch app or whatever on the other monitor is just kind of got that scrolling wheel thing going on. So luckily that's not an issue this time. So yeah, so one of the things I did, I don't know if you guys stream or not, but just so you're aware, because I like to share everything that I'm learning through this crazy process. I had to adjust the server that I was using. So I was using the server through OBS from like San Francisco, and I'm mid-Michigan area, so they were like, no, you want to use the one that's closer to you, like Chicago or New York. And I'm like, well, I had no clue. So I changed that setting, so hopefully now it'll it won't lock up, because we'd get to about 2 hours in, or an hour and a half in. Okay, Brett says it locked up for a second. Now it's back. But yeah, we'd get like an hour and a half in, and it would just freeze. And then I'd have to start typing back and forth. And I'm like, man, is it something I got in my setup? I don't know. But so hopefully that was the problem with it. Because I'd like to get a few live streams where, I don't know that I could do a couple hours all the time. But it seems to be like, kind of good, because you can get into the pieces a bit more and get a lot more done. So sometimes it takes a few hours to get some good workout, or whatever. Other times you just fly right through it. You just never know. Let's see. Jordan says, I don't really draw reptiles, so can I ask a question? Do you painstakingly draw out every one of those scales? I think the snout is a bit stubby, Rob. Well, that's not a very nice thing to say, Andrew. That's quite mean. Yeah, I'll try to fix that. Michigan here too. Oh yeah, Michigan to represent. Sorry, that probably came across a little silly. So yeah, so I do most of the time. Um, in young tastes, it looks like a baby dragon. Um, yeah, so I draw out every scale, but you don't have to. You could pull scales from. Uh, well, I could have pulled the actual scales right from the image reference that I was using for the Velociraptor, um, or any great reptile shot. The way that I'll generally do it, if I do pull texture reference like that, is I'll copy part of it, I'll do a soft erase around the edge, and then I'll use the warp tool to bend them into place. So, you know, for instance, say you had a layer like this, and you had a bunch of these little scales that you drew, right? I'll just do this real quick. And you really could almost, not quite this bad, but you could do them pretty bad. They don't have to be perfect. You know, scales aren't going to look perfect. And you can actually make a bunch of stuff like this and just log time. I'd probably do it with a bigger brush like this, and just log some time making some scales one day when you're bored and you're not feeling like creating an entire piece. You can do your own textures. And then you just take edit, transform, warp, or actually you want to get it into place first. So take V, move it over, edit, transform. First I'll usually distort them perspectively like this. So say I wanted these to be on the snout like this. And again, this isn't going to look as good because these aren't, you know, as good as scales, but then you warp it. And the reason I'll soft erase the edges because then I can warp them, move them around, all that, and then the edges will blend more. And then just play with your blending modes. Usually color, or no, maybe multiply. Yeah, I think I usually use multiply. And you kind of see, I mean, that's, you know, these are bad scales, but you'd fully shade them and everything, and you do it more in the grayscale, or I generally will do them in grayscale, and that's a good way to add scales in any texture, really. So it's just a nice thing to do. Like I said, if you're not feeling particularly on your best game that day, you can just sit around and kind of make some different textures, or just grab them from a photo if you want. But I typically like to make as much as possible because I always think about it like, I don't know, what if they throw something at me I can't get reference to? I want to be able to really knock it out anyways. I don't want to go, oh God, I need reference, or I can't create my artwork. And, you know, not that reference is a bad thing. I'm just saying that it kind of pays to be able to do it without taking those kind of shortcuts. So hopefully that answered it for you. Let's see, I'm painting right on the layer. So yeah, I kind of have to watch it when I do this stuff because if I'm painting on the layer, I want to make sure I don't blend out some of those scales. Yeah, so what were you saying? You want me to change the snout? Let me try that. You think it looks too stubby? Now, are you thinking that I should elongate it more? The dragon's eyes follow you wherever you go. Sweet. It's because he's hungry. Yeah, so what do you guys think for the snout? What do you want me to try to do? And what I'll do here is let me go ahead and copy that. Which one's this for the background? Let me go ahead and hit Command J again. Just so we got a backup of what we're doing. I'll bring that down to here. And you guys give me some pointers here. What do you think we should do with the snout? Elongate it? I probably should be flipping this back and forth. That's the other thing you should always be doing in your work that I don't do enough of. Anybody? Are you guys still there? Hello, 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 hello. Is anybody there? There? Man, you guys either type really slow or there's a bad lag going on here. The ridge of the nose on the right looks higher than on the left. Okay, and I'm assuming he said that before I flipped it. So let me put it back. So the ridge on the nose looks higher on the right than it does on the left. Yeah, so one part, So if I zoom up into this area, let me fix that. That's easy enough to fix, should be anyways. Let's go back to liquefy. I'm assuming he means right here because there's like no bump there, but there's a bump here. And then we can bring this one up and back a little. Well, actually we can't. I gotta take it off transparency. Lock. Yep, right side looks wrong. I think narrow the tip and make it longer. Okay, so yeah, let's try to elongate the snout a bit. How do we do that? Probably take this area here. And let's just go quick mask, filter, blur, Gaussian blur. Let's go to about, I don't know, right there. It might be a little too much. Let's go right there. Hit OK. And Command J gives us that backup copy. So we can extend that. And then we can also distort it. Let's try transform warp. So you got to kind of ignore that piece right there. And I think you were saying to taper it in. The head of the dragon looks very goat-like. Yeah, I did just go to a petting zoo with my son, so that's probably why they had goats. Damn goats. Stuck in my head. Alright, so I don't know. You guys got me focusing on the top part of the head. You know, this was a velociraptor, you know. This was supposed to just be a velociraptor. But you guys had to get me to try to paint a dragon, goat dragon. Oh, nice. You can use Control H to hide the warp tool as well. That's cool. I didn't know that one either. Alright, so let's say that's got to be a little bit better because now it's looking really funny when I take it off. Like he does have a really short snout. So let's just go ahead and merge this one down. Mess with the silhouette a little bit more over here. Get rid of some of this stuff. I'll point your nose too, and it looks a little bit better. Still a bit strange as far as dragons go. Yeah, I probably should have stuck with comics today. What was I thinking? But hey, this is how you get better at stuff, right? You gotta practice. Gotta try the stuff you're not the greatest at, or you'll never get better. I think what I need to do too is define this plane change a little bit more. Let's try that. I almost want to see more of a line right through here. It might look cool too to have like more of a ridge down the middle. Something like right through here, like another row of spikes, or just bring out some of this. Again, I always forget to set it back to normal mode. Grab some of this lighter tone. Does that look any better or no? Give it an extra eye. I am not giving my dragon a third eye. I'm not doing it. Small risk, small reward, Rob. Always go big. Yeah, nice. Yeah, I know, and I almost just want to start throwing spikes everywhere, you know, because when in doubt, give your character, creature, design, whatever spikes. I'm thinking too, like just more of the detail work would bring it out. So like, you know, start detailing the eye out more and really adding in some hyper detail like in this area, because I'd want the eye to be, you know, always make the eyes like a focal point. Almost always. Then maybe a few more little specular highlights to try to make parts of it look a bit more glossy, or a few more effects anyways. Maybe a spiky ridge. Yeah, so Felix says that's a cool transformation from a Velociraptor to a dragon. Yeah, and I mean, really, that's kind of hopefully the main takeaway from this one is that, you know, that you can do that. That you can. That's how you're going to get all your fantasy creature art to look the best, anyways. Is to base it off some kind of realism, even though even a Velociraptor isn't real anymore in a sense. You know, it's something you could pull from history or whatever, the 3D versions of them. But all that information is good information. You know, like, and you can do the same thing with like a bearded dragon. Like those things kind of look like dinosaurs more so, really. Just some of their markings and shapes are so cool. So you can pull from that. You can pull from, you know, like dragons are really just a mix of all the, you know, all the animals combined. You know, a lot of the styles of dragons are just, you know, just a mixture of like fish and mammals and just everything combined. Reptiles, obviously. And you can get all sorts of neat variations to your creature designs that way. So I'd probably even do a little bit of this like light wrapping around the neck right there. Probably add a little bit more dimension. Hopefully. Alright, let's pan back a little bit. It's starting to get there. I think the eye's up. Almost looks like the eye's a bit too high. And I think the ear is a bit too large in scale. Young Tai says, dragons are just fish lizards. And let's see, Harper comes in and says, well, I wish I had seen this from the beginning. Yeah, it started off, well, I can show you real quick, you know, just so you know what it came from. I was more right there, so I was doing a Velociraptor, and then we just started adding effects and playing around with it, and this is what we got so far. So one of the things that I'm seeing that's really bugging me now is I feel like the eye is just too far back. I'm going to go ahead and take this. This should be an easy fix and hopefully make it look a lot better. What was it? Command J. Move that eye over. I don't know. I almost think it should be more up and inset. Doesn't that look a bit better? Yeah, because here he looks almost a bit stupid, like a stupid dragon. Here he looks a little more intelligent. Am I the only one seeing that? Stupid dragon? Intellectual dragon. Stupid dragon. Intellectual dragon. I don't know. Unless you guys are against it, I will just go ahead and merge that down. I'm going to make an executive decision and just go ahead and go with that one. Alrighty then. Alright, so a little more specularity here. So I'm going to really punch up the edge lighting on a few areas here, just to try to bring that out a bit more. Still not knowing which way to put the direction of this wing. I think it needs a bit more detail. Derpy dragon. Second eye, second eye. Oh good, looks better. Okay. Glad I made the right call there, folks. Sometimes you just gotta go for it. You gotta risk it to get the biscuit. And I think something like that. I don't know. I'm going crazy with the... a lot of times I'll punch up these light sources like this just to kind of like see a few things, see into the artwork a little bit better. And I just know I got to paint it back, but you know, it helps me kind of round it out really quickly and kind of look at it a bit differently. So I go a little crazy with the dodge tool, mainly is what I'm trying to say. But I do like the effect, like if you do it enough on the underneath here, you can actually make it look like he's getting ready to spit some fire or something. You can really punch that up and all of a sudden he looks like he's heating up for a burst of fire. Right? Could you increase your canvas size and do a quick sketch of the body to get proportion and positioning of the wing? Yeah, I suppose I could. We can try that. Claw on the wing, maybe? Yeah. Yeah, so yeah, let's try that. That's not a bad idea. Or I guess, what canvas size am I at? Yeah, it's not that bad. So let's go image canvas size. Let's bump it up to 12. Let's do 16 over here. See if that's enough. Probably won't be. Nah, gotta go further than that even. One second. Okay, so let's go even further. Canvas size. Let's do 20 and 16. Alright, that's a little better. And let's do layer on top. Grab a bright color of some kind. Probably just go with red. Okay, and then let's try to bump up the brush size and the opacity. And draw this out a bit more. So one of the things I wasn't digging anyways, it almost looks like from the, you know, because this was originally a raptor, I don't think a dragon would go that far thin. I think it would be a little bit thicker and slowly, you know, transition to the, you know, the bigger chest or something like that. Arm down this way, I guess. One wing here. I guess prospectively we could envision that the other wing maybe goes like this. I don't know. Maybe. Yeah, see, I don't know if I like the wing like that. Let me play around with this real quick. Smoke from the nostrils. Yeah, that's not a bad idea. Go from top right. Go from top right. What do you mean there? Top right? Yeah, so I'm almost feeling like maybe this other wing should have been up here like this more. And then this one could have been like this maybe. Does that look right or no? And then maybe just keep this one where it's at and then have this one up higher. And you got to figure out, you know, what kind of dragon. Some of them got arms up here and the other ones, this is their arms. Yeah, I'm still working on getting the wings right, but yeah, you got a point. They don't match the body. Um, I'm almost thinking more like this. Let me see if I can get that to work right here. So let me go image crop this way. Let's take this down a bit. And I think I could probably just draw this in with the selection real quick. Let me try. Because this way I can see if it's even going to work before I invest too much time into trying to paint a bunch of crazy stuff here. So something like that. You know, and obviously I'll stop it before it gets down to the body, but I'm just trying to get a shape in there and kind of take a look at it. And then as far as the dragon, I would probably just, or the dragon body I should say, I'd probably just use that liquefy effect again. Let me see if I can do that. Back to the old liquefy. So almost something like that, and then lock transparency, and then get back to, you know, painting in the scales again and try and do, almost do it like this where I just dab in the actual scales and then trace around them with a darker line or something. A lot of this will probably all be in shadow, so I'm almost thinking of this more like texture at this point. And then, I wonder if I could just take the background and just kind of do a quick cheat right here. And then probably copy this part. Something like that. And let's see, where does that end? I'm trying to figure out how I want to do the wing here. Yeah, the liquefy is just an amazing tool. That's what I'm saying. Like, one of the reasons why I always seem to come back to Photoshop, if nothing else, it's for the liquefy tool, because it's far superior than. It kind of boggles my mind why certain tools don't make it into certain, like, every application. Like, for instance, the perspective tools in Photoshop. I just think by now they would have had the best perspective tools, but they don't. You know, they got a lot of workarounds and things like that. And you can just make grids and things, and that's what I do, and generally paint off those, and you can make it work, you know. But if there's like you know, especially a comic scene or something like that, I just immediately go to Manga Studio or Procreate and draw it in there first. And, you know, I'll probably almost always end up in Photoshop because of the color editing ability and stuff like that. But yeah, I always draw pretty much in those other programs. Which, I mean, I shouldn't say it entirely because I do some of my drawing. Like, I do the entire storyboarding process all in Photoshop. I don't, just because it's got to be so fast that I don't have time to bounce back and forth. So I almost never draw anything storyboard related in anything but Photoshop. So you can do it all in Photoshop for sure. I mean, obviously there's tons of artists, that's all they do. Yeah, so Young Tae, good observation. It looks like the wings are just floating there. And that's intentional at this point. What I'm trying to do is get a bit of shape going. And I'm thinking I'm going to have them come in and kind of go like this. Maybe do like the, part where it looks like they're, I don't know, like you see that extra bit of muscle or fat around them or something. And then they come up like this. And then this one's like supposed to be more closer to camera. And then I'll erase here, here, something like this. And then stretch down the part of the body of the dragon. And then I'll probably just take this, but I was going to paint a little bit more of this, but I guess I can do it right now. And then go like this, bring it over to here. The heck? Oh, this was locked. Goodness. Like wondering what the heck. It's like a magic hat going on over here. There we go. So erase some of this around. And it always starts off really crude. It's like, it's one of the things I've learned about digital painting. Like not to freak out when it doesn't look cool right away, because it's probably not gonna. But the more you just kind of keep adding and maneuvering stuff around, you start to get a little bit better and better perspective on it as you progress. And I like keeping as many of these layers or segments to the body as I can, because I can, just tweak them and edit them just a little bit more as I go. Yeah, so Andrew, I appreciate you saying that, saying my storyboards are pretty photorealistic. Yeah, because, what it is mainly is in that genre, or that, not genre, but in that classification of art or creation process, they really strongly push you towards using photo reference. So I'll end up, some of it I'll paint entirely by hand, because I like to paint by hand. I like to do as much on my own as I can. But some of it I just go to photos and manipulate, because they pretty much tell you to. Like some of the jobs, they'll straight up tell you, no, we just want you to edit some photos. Throw them together. We want a really photo look. So you end up putting an art style over photos and some of that work. So that's just kind of, again, that's what they want. That's what they tell you to do. The main focus on that is to tell the story and to tell it extremely fast. Other than that, they could care less. It doesn't end up in the end commercial. So they don't care what you do to get it done, really. Where, in comics, there's like this big, gasp if you trace something or something. Everyone's like, oh my God, did he just trace that? Remember, like, everybody got so mad at Rob Liefeld for tracing layouts to pages. And, I never did. I never really cared. I was like, man, isn't that just like looking at reference in a way? Like, was that really matter? But he flat out, supposedly, I don't never really bought into it, but, traced other people's layouts, and I just don't see it like that, because we're all imitating life, it doesn't really matter. It's still art, you're still putting your design over it. You're still creating art. It's just strange. It's just different people have a different take on it, and we all know comic fans are pretty, we're pretty aggressive fans. Like, we get really mad when a superhero isn't conveyed the way that we thought it should be, or any of that type of stuff, which I try not to. I try to just say, you know what? I'm just happy they're doing superhero stuff, I want to see more superhero movies. I care less if there's a few bad ones in the mix. Just keep making tons of them so I get a few of the good ones. And, the other thing is, the bad ones make the good ones look really good anyways. So think about it like that. Occasional bad superhero movie will just make you think that the next good one was amazing. Which I'm not totally innocent of that, because honestly, I could not stand the Andrew Garfield Spider-Mans, And I guess that's my big fan type, movies. I'm like the only person that thought Tobey Maguire did a pretty good job. Like I'd read all these reviews and people were just totally hating on the guy. And oh yeah, Jordan says I'm waiting for Thanos to enter the Avengers movie. It's going to be so awesome. Yeah, I know, me too. I've been waiting since they introduced him in the back of the first one, right? And yeah, I thought that was so killer. He's like Thanos is my all-time favorite villain. He's right up there. I'd say it's a close second to actually I'd say a close second to Darth Vader. Darth Vader is like the all-time coolest villain, you know, um, slash good guy, I guess. But yeah, I can't wait to see him fully portrayed. I mean, it was cool to see him in Guardians. You know, they did a good job by putting him in that for that brief moment or whatever. But yeah, definitely a cool villain. That was actually one of the villains that I most identify with through comics because I used to always read all the like Infinity Gauntlet stuff and you know Silver Surfer stuff and all that, and I just was always really impressed with the just the way they portrayed that character basically. Yeah, I mean, yeah, and I agree. I think Tobey Maguire was the most believable Peter Parker. Like he just, yeah, I mean, yeah, was there some flaws, and definitely like part three when they did that dark version of him with the whole Venom thing, that came off as real cheesy at parts. I mean, definitely, but man, nothing beats that first Spider-Man movie. I watched that the other night, and it just still holds up. It's still a good movie. But I've tried to watch the one with Garfunkel or Garfield or whatever his name is, and man, just sucks. Just sucks. Like he comes across like this hipster, like I'm cool, but leave me alone. Don't talk to me. I'm Peter Parker. Like I just don't. Guess I don't buy it. But that's not to say that it's not a good movie. There's just I'm not gonna always identify and think certain characters did justice to a particular character. I also didn't like how they made Aunt May. What was it? Who was that? Sally Field or somebody? It was like she was like younger, and I'm like, that's not Aunt May. Aunt May's this little lady with white hair and a little bun in her hair. Can give you good advice and bake you some cookies. That's Aunt May. But again, that's just my narrow perspective on it. So they're probably going at it from an angle like, hey, what's going to sell us the most movies? What's cool today? What do people think today's Spider-Man would be like, or today's Aunt May would be like? Things like that. Let's see. Try to read some of these real quick. I'm wondering if Thanos will actually acquire the Infinity Stones in the upcoming movies, or will they stop right before he gathers them because he got all of them in the comics, right? Yeah, I think they'd probably show it, if not at the very end, and then they all come together to defeat him. But yeah, because if not, it almost seems like he wouldn't get them all because the whole idea I remember in the comics was he got them all and didn't he immediately murder everybody? Like he just had all this power and they had to like almost do all this other stuff to get it back. It's a lot longer, drawn out version, I'm sure, in the comics. But yeah, it'll be interesting to see how they do all that. Let's see here. All right, I want to get like some of the. Let me try this. Some of that. I always like on Dragon Wings, where, like I mentioned before, where you can see like a little bit of the veins, and then you can kind of see through them. So I'll do like this, and then punch up a light source like through the one wing right here. Try something like that. Maybe up here. See, and then I keep painting on the wrong wing. Darn it, layers. All right, there we go. Let me get more shadow on the back of this one now. I set the multiply. Yeah, they always change it dramatically in the movies, you know, mainly because of the story arc, the way that they have to like make it all fit. Well, unless they do a Lord of the Rings thing where it's like 3 flipping long movies, they would have to like really segment it and make it work, you know, in a shorter interval or whatever. But who knows? They do all kinds of crazy stuff in the movies now that I just didn't see coming with a lot of these characters. I especially didn't like. I was actually digging the Fantastic Fours. I didn't mind those, the first ones. I didn't. Um, I haven't watched the last one yet because the reviews were just so flipping horrible. Um, but I didn't mind the first two. I thought were cool, if nothing else, just to watch Jessica Alba run around. But the I didn't like how they did Galactus. I always call him Galacticus, but Galactus. They made him into a big planet, and to me that was like so stupid. You know, I mean, I know you didn't want to do this big giant guy with a G on his chest and, you know, coming out of space trying to eat the planet or something. But really, you couldn't do anything better than just a giant planet that eats planets. I don't know. And wasn't that Unicron? Even he changed into a character at the end. But I just think that it would have been better if they would have left it more, you know, alone. But again, they do that whole thing where, well, I don't know if that'll work in the movie community. You know, it works in the comic community, but not in the movie community. Oh, and Andrew, yeah, that's a custom brush. It's really just a chalk brush that comes with Photoshop, but I set it to transfer right here with no shape dynamics and no spacing, or very little. And usually a lot of these, like especially like the hard round brush, I think I got to no spacing because I don't like any of the artifacts it leaves in between the stroke. But yeah, and just so everybody knows, I'm going to do a quick plug while I'm talking about the brushes. These are all my full custom paint set that you can get on my Gumroad. So just so you know what I'm doing to support the work here that I share on the live stream and on my YouTube channel is if you support by getting something off my Gumroad or following me on Patreon. And I've got different levels of rewards on Patreon now where I share the PSDs from these art files, some added tutorial stuff and brushes all through Patreon. So just wanted to shout that out there real quick, and back to the live stream. Yeah, they did a great job with Silver Surfer. I was pretty impressed with that. I was overall impressed with the entire movie. I thought, obviously, the guy that's playing Captain America now, who does fantastic with that, he did a great Torch. The guy for Reed Richards was spot on. Jessica Alba is just amazing. She's Jessica Alba, you know. So it was just really well done. Or, you know, I thought well done, but apparently not well enough because it didn't do that well overall. And they ultimately redid it. And then it failed miserably. And they're going to have to do another reboot, I imagine. So it's like, I don't know. It's just strange how, you know, you'd think these guys that got all these mega amounts of money that they would just know exactly what's going to work and nail it every time. But they don't. They get it really wrong based on the common consensus or whatever it is. And it's strange because it's like, don't they show it to a bunch of people throughout the process? Aren't these directors just amazing movie creating machines? And how does it all seem to go so awry? And I just don't get it. I think it wouldn't even be possible. I think it's just mainly they're trying to make too many people happy, so it's just not a clear-cut science. There's always going to get people. You're always going to get people that get left out of the mix, or you're always going to get haters. That's for sure. You know, but it almost seems like some of them, they just really just flunk right out of it. Like Guardians was amazing. You know, I don't know, I don't think I've seen any really overall bad reviews of Guardians of the Galaxy. It was like it just hit on so many levels that you just really couldn't knock it. You know, I mean, I know there's some people out there that had to give it a negative review because there's just always going to be people like that. But there wasn't enough where it was like, oh, that movie was ruined. You know, they ruined that movie. You always hear stuff like that when they really don't get it right. And that one I think was just too amazing for people to really latch on and give it too much negativity. Yeah, I agree, Andrew. It's one of my favorite movies too. Um, I didn't even watch or collect the Guardians comics, so maybe that helped me because I didn't judge it based on that, which I think is a big part of why some people truly hate some of them because they have this really predisposed idea of what that character should have been. But I never really collected the Guardians comics. But when it came out and I watched it, I'm like, whoa, this, I don't know what the book was like, but this had to nail it because this is good. You know, this was really well done. It had areas in the movie where you felt bad for the characters. It invoked all the different emotions, and that's really hard to do with science fiction, comic book type stuff. I imagine, you know, because you know how bad are you going to feel for, you know, a mythical creature? You know, it's one of the reasons why I think even Lord of the Rings did all right. You know, as sappy as some of it came across, it managed to evoke all the different emotions. You know, you got to have the love interest. You can't just have big crazy creatures fighting. You know, we think that's cool. We'll kind of get by with enough of that, I guess. But you know, you got to have the love interest for the girls that are watching. You got to have the sad part to make everybody truly identify with the characters. You know, you got to have all the stuff going on that uh, you know makes it a bit more believable in some kind of sense. I think, anyways. I'm no director. I really don't know what it really takes. If I knew, I'd probably be making movies. Yeah, same thing. And Jordan says I was super happy with Deadpool, and same here. They did. They totally knocked that one out of the park as well. Uh, you know, and that one was one where okay, I definitely knew the character, and they still definitely they landed the nail on the head, or the hammer on the nail of the head, or however you say it, hit the nail on the head with that character. They made it. It was Deadpool, you know, and they did it well. And I think part of the success of that one was that they didn't compromise. You know, they didn't really go, um, you know, we gotta update them for the movie screen. We gotta change them. We gotta make them into something else. Well, for instance, like when they did it with Wolverine or whatever, they put Deadpool in there, Wade Wilson in there, and they changed them. People got mad. You know, they're like, that's not Deadpool. That's something else. And um, so maybe they learned there. You know, maybe they saw that and go, well, we can't repeat that mistake. This has really got to be the right Deadpool. And not to mention Ryan Reynolds just nailed that character. He was he is Wade Wilson or whatever. He did a phenomenal job with that character. I'm trying to get a little bit of volumetric in here and cover up some of my bad painting. If I can, anyways. Filter, blur, Gaussian blur. Okay, so Guardians did stay true to the spirit of the books. So I mean, maybe that's the main thing, that most of those are staying true. And I definitely had that feeling with Spider-Man 1, that it felt very true to the concept, at least the perception I had of that character, uh, and the other characters involved in it. I felt like it was pretty accurate. I'll try a little bit of blue light here. Set to color. Oh. Oh yeah, some smoke kind of coming out of the nostrils. Okay, we can try that real quick. Yeah, so what I'm gonna have to do is wrap this up pretty soon because we started at 5, so we're going on 2 hours, so it's a pretty long one. But before I'll do the smoke to the nose real quick, or add a couple little last minute highlights, and I'll probably finish this painting up and then put it on my various sites. One of the things I've been doing is making a version of some of these live streams and some of my YouTube stuff available as a free download on my Patreon. So you guys can go over there and check it out if you want. Just so it kind of drives traffic over there and forces people to look at my page, essentially. But hey, at least I'm honest about it. So yeah, so any last minute questions, and I'll do those final little touch ups. Yeah, I know. I can't believe a couple hours just went by. It's insane. That Raptor is kicking it. Nice. Thank you. Yes, it is a Raptor. But hey, at least this way you guys got to see that, you can convert existing creatures into fantasy creatures, and hopefully that'll get the imagination going. And it definitely, the neat thing about it is it just gives you reference. Like, I didn't really look at the Raptor much after I had that initial painting going, but I could have. I could still go back and look at the glares on that 3D render from Jurassic Park, and I can study those and implement some of that into my painting. I probably will, because it's still not as realistic as I would like, or whatever. I don't know about realistic, but so I'll go back and add little elements of that in there. So that's the beauty of pulling from real life, because it gives you that reference material. Does that look like smoke, or should that be the right color? Let's see. Feel free to do work whenever you can on Twitch, even if you don't talk. It's just fun to watch and see the process. Okay, yeah, appreciate that, Jordan. And yeah, I might have to do that anyways, because what'll happen is I'll be able to produce pieces where, obviously you can see the wings aren't the same color. I've got some blending issues here. A couple hours, I probably could have had a lot more of this done, but I'm still overall happy with what we were able to, get done in that amount of time, and discuss as well. I mean, shoot, I even learned something from a few of you guys, so it's like, it's all good. Oh, Walmart gift cards, you just got here. We're closing up. That sucks. Sorry about that. So yeah, I'll be bringing this one to a close. Just so you guys know too, so another thing I would do, and I'll finish this piece and then I'll share it later. But a lot of times what I'll do too is go like this: Command J, Command E. This will give me a flat version of this, and then I'll do some post processing on the entire image, where maybe I bump up more of a light source back here. Maybe dodge, burn some of the shadows. So this is usually stuff I'll do right at the end of each painting, just to kind of, direct the view a little bit more. So what I'm kind of picturing is that the view that I want everybody to look at is kind of like right here. If I was to draw a circle around it. So at the very end, I'll kind of frame the work a little bit more. But like I said, I'll end up finishing this and doing a bit more. It's almost there anyways. It wouldn't take much more to kind of, make it a somewhat finished piece. Minus this weird looking bright fog right there. I got to tone that back. So stuff like this, I want to look really subtle. Yeah, time for some dinner for me too. I'd tune in for that too. Just give me a heads up. Okay, will do, Andrew. So I thank everybody for popping in and watching this. I really appreciate you supporting the live stream here. Keep in mind that I'm on YouTube. You can follow me on there, and also the Gumroad and the Patreon stuff as well. So every little bit helps, and I appreciate you guys supporting the work that I do here. So as always, keep drawing, keep having fun, and I will talk to you soon. Bye for now.